Hello and welcome to Quarry Hill Academy Reception Induction Meeting. We apologise that you can't be with us in person at the moment, but to keep us all safe, we've decided to create this video for you so that you can still receive all of the information that you need in preparation for your children starting school in September. My name is Mrs. Bradding and I'm the Assistant Head Teacher for EYFS in our Dell reception area. We have two different buildings, so we have our Bradley campus and we also have Dell, so we're positioned in Dell, and you'll see me around the school and on the gates usually in the mornings, but I am the person you would go to if there are any issues or problems that you need to talk about. Today we're going to go through some of our information that we share with parents. Usually this would be done in school so that you'd be able to ask questions. But if you do have any questions or queries, please contact us through our admin email and we will get back to you as soon as possible. This is the first time that we've done anything like this, so if there are any glitches, please bear with us. So first of all, here is our leadership team. We've got Mrs. Wakeling, who's our head teacher, myself, Mrs. Bradding, who's the assistant head teacher for EYFS and Key Stage 1, Miss Steele, who's our acting deputy head, and we have a new assistant head teacher for Key Stage 2, Mrs. Weller. She will be starting in September. And here is our reception team. We've got our two teachers. They work in a whole class, so all of those children and adults will be working closely together. We've got Miss Milbourne, who's the lead teacher for reception, Miss Keenan, who is the other class teacher for RGK, Mrs. Batt, Miss White and Mrs. Everett. There will be some other staff starting with this in September as well, but these are the regular teachers that you'd be seeing on the doors if there is any questions that you may have on the mornings when you bring your children to school. Some other people that is good to know for our school, we have a very welcoming and helpful team of people who support all of our families in lots of different ways. We have Mrs. Rice and Miss Childs, who are our Senko team. And if you have any concerns about your children's development or you just need some advice, it could be in regards to their speech and language or the way that they engage and play with others, then these would be the people to come and see for an appointment, and they will guide you and send you in different directions to people who may be able to help you. We have Mrs. Young, who's our family support worker, and we have Mrs. North, who's our pupil services support officer. All of these people are here to help all of our families in lots of different ways. So please reach out to them if you do need any support in any way. So this is our reception school day. Now we do have 3 rooms on site in Dell and they will be coming through in staggered entry. This is in order in the current situation that we're in. We want to ensure that all of our families, our pupils, staff, community are keeping safe. And so we are asking that our reception children come through the Dell reception gates at 8:40. And the doors will close at 8:55. On their arrival, there'll be some activities for them to engage in. And then once everybody's settled and they've put all of their things away, there'll be a phonics session, literacy input, choosing and group work. This is followed by lunch. And then after lunch, we are going to be starting our afternoon thinking about well-being. We've all been at home for a very long time, and it's important that we're trying to think about how we're feeling and our emotions, and more so for the children. It's important for them to express and talk about how they're feeling. They could be missing parents, they could be feeling a little bit anxious and worried about being back at school, and that's why we're going to have relaxation time with our register after lunch. It gives the children an opportunity to calm back down again and talk about anything that they'd like to discuss. That will follow with a maths input, choosing and group work, and ending the day with songs, story and home time. Throughout the week, there'll be lots of other opportunities for different areas of the curriculum that we'll be teaching, such as PE, music, understanding of the world, personal, social and emotional development, and creative activities. And the children are at the heart of all of those choices. They tell us what things they enjoy, and we try to embed that into our weekly planning. At Quarry Hill, we have a real passion for play in our learning, and I know that many schools in our local area echo the same thoughts. We feel that learning through play is at the heart of all that we do at Quarry Hill. We value the importance of children exploring and being imaginative in all the things that they do. And we want to encourage children to be able to do that wherever they are, whether that be in the classroom or outside. We want them to ignite their imagination and to express themselves through play. Of course, as they start to play, we will start to assess the children and we'll identify things that those children may need to support their development. So that is when adults will begin to do structured learning with those children in small groups. We value the importance of preparing for the future, and we want children to be able to understand that as they move through school, they will be expected to sit at tables and chairs and join in activities with the teachers. And this is something we do straight away at school once they've had a little settling in period. Some children will be ready for this sooner than others, and that's absolutely fine. The teachers assess every child on their individual needs, and then they make sure that all of the learning caters to each individual child. We feel that partnership with parents is really important, and we want to have such a strong connection. We've been apart for so long that now that we're all coming back together again, we want to keep in touch with you at home. The way that we would usually do this is to invite you in for some live lessons. Unfortunately, we're unable to have any adults in at the moment. So what we're going to do this year is have virtual meetings so that you can still feel like you're in the classroom with us and experience phonics, maths and literacy. And these dates will be planned in the next few months, so please look out for those. As your children move through school, some of the children may have been with us in our nursery, and some of these things you may have already seen. But we complete the early years foundation stage profile, and we begin with prime areas. And these are some of the things that all of the teachers will be looking and assessing against your children's play. We start off with things like communication and language, where we're beginning to listen and understand and speak to each other. This is really important in those early stages of children settling in. We want them to feel confident enough to listen to each other, share ideas, but also to be able to understand why we have routines in place and why they're important in making sure that we're all building and working together as a team. We have our physical development areas that we watch. And this is not just for moving and handling, this is also the ability to hold a pencil or to pick up very small items with their finger and their thumb, making sure that they're building all of the muscles in their hands, which will later build on to them being able to write sentences and stories as they get older. We also look at their personal, social and emotional development. And once again, this is helping them to build confidence, to be able to share and play and make good friendships with their friends. Also, in a time where we've all been at home for a long period of time, children may need to have reminders about behaviour routines and what's expected at school, and this is something that we'll be working with them as soon as they start. As they become more confident in the prime areas, we start to look at the specific areas, and these are things such as literacy, maths, understanding of the world and expressive art and design. And once again, all of these areas are taught in a fun and practical way, so that we're making sure that children are experiencing the whole curriculum while they're playing. In literacy, we'll be sharing lots of stories, and we start with traditional tales such as Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, The Gingerbread Man, all of these books that you may already be reading at home. We then encourage mark making as soon as they start school, and that can be done in a range of ways, such as using chalks, paints, shaving foam, their finger in sand, whatever makes a mark they can explore with. And that will then lead on as they get more confident with their phonics, they'll begin to write CVC words and sentences. We look at number and shape and space and encourage children to understand not only a number as a number, but understanding that that number means something and there's always a quantity that matches it. A lot of our children arrive to school knowing their numbers from 1 to 10, but we want them to understand what that actually means when we look at objects or when we're counting. Understanding of the world. We talk about people in our community and their jobs that they have, and we talk a lot about parents as having the first ever job that a child knows, which is to look after their children and the importance that that parent plays in their life. We talk about the world around us and how it changes with the seasons, and we talk about technology, which we know a lot of our reception children coming through are already brilliant at. They can all access iPads and CD players, so we encourage you to do that through the holidays and make sure they're really confident before they start. Arts and design covers a lot of different things. We encourage children to be dressing up. actively playing with music and sound and dancing, anything that they can make a movement with. We encourage all of that sort of play, and we talk about how to make music and how to make dances up together. Outdoor learning is a huge part of what we do at Quarry Hill. We've got a lovely outdoor space and many different levels of things for children to engage with. At the beginning of the year, the children will have their outdoor area outside their classrooms, and they'll have our magic garden, which is where we have our mud and adventurous play. So what we ask is that we make sure that all children have got access to the following things to ensure that they can access these areas in all weather conditions. So we ask that they have a coat that's waterproof, Wellington boots with their names on, a sun hat and sunscreen so that they don't get burnt for those hotter months, and that these are kept in school all the time, just because we know that our weather can always be changing. So please make sure they've got all those things available. An optional extra, if you would like your child to have them, some children would bring in waterproof trousers. This is really useful for in our magic garden because we do encourage the children to get down on the floor. They can crawl around, roll around, anything like that is welcome at Quarry Hill, because we want them to explore all that sensory element of touching the earth and playing with mud, but that can get their clothes very messy. So if you would like your child to have some waterproof clothing on their trousers, make sure they're in school as well, please. I'm now going to pass over to Miss Milbourne, our lead in reception, who's going to talk about our topic learning this year. Thank you, Miss Milbourne.
Sorry. So yes, so the beginning of each or every half term we'll have a topic. So the topic is the starting point. So it enables the children to give them a focus and it makes them really fun for them. So in autumn 1 is all about me. Autumn 2 is people who help us. Spring 1 is explorers. Spring 2 is dinosaurs. Summer 1 is growing, and then summer 2 is splash. And then so our partnership with parents is really important for us. We want you to engage as much as you can. So we'll send home each week, we'll send home a reading book and a reading log. So we would just encourage you to read with your child every day, write any comments that you think is really useful. Each week we'll send home a big question. And I'll speak a little bit in a minute about Tapestry, but we are going online this year, so we'll just give a question each week. It will just be a show me question, and we just encourage you just to be as imaginative as you can. We don't expect you to go home and research it. It's just having that conversation and that activity with your child. So for instance, it might be show me what you like, so you might want to put loads of photos on things like that. Another week it might be show me what you know about spring, so you might go on a little spring walk. So yeah, just make it as imaginative as you can. And then also we'll be setting some tasks on Purple Mash. Purple Mash we've used quite a lot during the home learning and it's been quite successful. So we're going to carry on with it in September, and there's loads of different activities and things for them to do. So we'll give obviously logins and that in September for you to access. So as I just said, we're going to be going online. So our learning journals will be on Tapestry. So we collect things like photos and videos, observations, and parents, you can upload pictures and videos, and then we'll just give you regular updates. It's obviously just in case there's any important messages that we need to give to tell you. So it will be you can download an app on your phone, and it will be if we upload an observation or something like that, that you will be able to access it at home on your phone. Logins and passwords will be given in September, so don't worry about that. We'll give that to you in September.
I'm just going to talk about some ways you can prepare your child for September. So we ask if you can try lots of practice at home to make your child independent, dressing and undressing themselves. Lots of practice going to the toilet independently, washing hands, putting their shoes on independently. And we do ask, if possible, if you use Velcro for your children's school shoes, because it's just a lot easier for them, so that we're not having to tie their shoes for them. And we do ask that all uniform is labelled with their name and their class. Obviously, there's going to be 60 children, and if they've all got a navy blue cardigan, it's hard to get the correct one back to the correct child. And we also ask to practice feeding themselves at home using a knife and fork. A few other ways to help prepare your child for coming to school is to talk about the daily routine, help them feel really comfortable about what will happen at school, show them pictures of all of us at school, get them familiar with our faces, and start to begin to write their name. Spend some time reading and try to get a nice sleep routine. But most importantly, we hope you have a really lovely 6 weeks holidays, and we're looking forward to you starting school. Uniform's really important for children to help them feel like they belong, and so that they're looking really smart and presentable. So it's a navy fleece or a cardigan or jumper, white polo shirt for or t-shirt, and you can get the Quarry Hill logo on, grey trousers for the boys, or a grey skirt or pinafore dress for the girls, or grey trousers as well. We ask for plain black shoes, obviously with Velcro if possible, socks grey or white, and then a book bag so that we can put their reading record in, and any newsletters or any information that we need to get to them to you. And then they will also need a PE bag. You can get a Quarry Hill PE bag with a logo on. You can also, we also ask if in the PE bag that they have a white t-shirt, PE shorts. The PE shorts need to be navy. For indoors, they need plimsolls. Outdoor, they need trainers. But there's also a little link at the bottom there, and if you click on there, that will help take you to all the uniform that you need to get. So in reception, all children are entitled to free school meals, and there will be a menu on the website, and we'll also give you a leaflet at the start of the year. So if you just have a little look at the menu and choose the appropriate meal that you want your child to have, there's normally 3 options. They're really excellent choice. There's vegetarian option, a meat option. They're just really lovely meals. It encourages children to all eat together, so it's really sociable. It helps with their table manners, to learn to feed themselves. It's a really lovely healthy meal, and all the children really enjoy them and really love lunch times and spending special time together with all their friends. But it's really important to find out if you're entitled to the extra benefits of free school meals. So if you go on the link, it will take you to see if you're entitled to the funding, as you'll receive, for every child we receive £1,300. So it's obviously extra money for the school, so that we can buy extra resources and support the children better as well. However, if you do prefer a packed lunch, if you think your child would prefer a packed lunch, that is absolutely fine as well. But we do ask that you are providing your child with a nice healthy packed lunch, and we do ask for no chocolate, sweets or sugary drinks. And it's really important that there's no nuts in the packed lunch, as we are a nut-free school. So that includes chocolate spreads and things like that as well.
Thank you very much to both teachers there. Okay, I'm just going to talk a bit about attendance now. So obviously our school has certain opening times, and we're doing that to ensure that the safety of the children, the community and the pupils is the highest priority. We're asking that these times are adhered to as much as possible. We understand that sometimes there are times where you may be late, but please try to keep that to a minimum to ensure that there isn't too much crossing of different groups of adults at any one time. So the school gates, and these will be the Dell gates that are the usual ones that most of our parents will be used to using, they will open at 8:40 and they'll close again at 8:55. Any children arriving after this time will need to arrive through the Dell entrance and be marked in as late. Now, the Dell entrance is no longer an office space, but this is a place where you can bring your children safely to be dropped off, and one of the teachers will come and collect them from there. It's really important that children are coming in at the right time. It's encouraging them to be punctual and to learn for the future that it's important to be on time. So please help your children to do that as much as possible. If for any reason your child may be unwell, please ensure that you call the Bradley office to inform them of your child's absence. It's important to let us know why your child is off and how long you think they may be away for. This just helps your teachers to ensure that any learning that they may be missing, they will be able to catch up on their return. And it also ensures that we know that they're okay and that they're going to be well soon. Now, if there is any sickness or diarrhea, then we need to ask that you're keeping your children at home for 24 hours after the symptoms arise. So please ensure that that is observed and that you keep them at home for that length of time and only bring them back to school once they are fit and well. It's once again to ensure that they are feeling well at school, but also not to spread that to anybody else. Now, with our current situation, it's important to mention that COVID-19 symptoms are still around, and we do need to be really aware that they could still happen. So please make sure that you are monitoring your children closely. If yourself, your child or close family or anyone you've been in contact with is displaying symptoms of COVID-19, please keep your child at home and let the school know as soon as possible. And that could be things such as persistent cough, high temperature, and even a loss of taste or smell. So please keep an eye out for those and let the school know as soon as possible and follow the government guidance as directed online. If there are any medical needs that your child may have, please make sure that the Bradley office staff are aware of this prior to them starting in September. Most parents have already filled this out in their application packs, which we thank you in advance for, but please just make sure that you are letting us know if they've got any medication that's recently been prescribed, or if they need asthma pumps or EpiPens, as these will need to be on site and we will need to have documentation from the doctors to ensure that they're being administered carefully. Any oral medications cannot be given by the staff at Quarry Hill. That would need to have a parent come to school and give that to them. But if it is something that you do need support with giving, please speak to the Bradley office and they will give you advice on what can be done next. Please make sure that all medicines are kept up to date and all medical records are kept up to date at the office at Bradley, so that we can make sure that everything we have is up to date, all pens and pumps are in date, and they are all working well at school. Now, this is something new that we're adding to our induction meeting slides, and I know that everyone is experiencing this at the moment, and we are having to change the way we do things. But this doesn't mean that we're going to change too much at school. We want things to be as smooth and as safe for all the children returning to school as best as we can. So these are some of the measures that we've put in place for our COVID-19 response and how we're going to manage that in school. The new guidance states that schools will need to create year group bubbles to ensure that the spread of the virus can be reduced and monitored closely. So the good part about this is that now we're moving away from being very restricted. We're now able to have our whole cohort of reception children playing together and interacting as they usually would, which is what we wanted. We wanted to get back to the ability to open up fully and be able to have children being able to play as they usually would. And that is following that guidance from government. We'll be taking a few extra measures to ensure the safety of all our pupils, staff and families over the next few months. The measures will be protective but also suitable for the needs and ages of all the children in our care. We want school life to feel comfortable and safe and to ensure that the transition back to school is a positive one. Here are some of the measures that we're going to be putting in place. So we've mentioned before that there's going to be a staggered entry for all the year groups on the Dell site. So reception will be arriving through the Dell gates and they will be the only children arriving through those gates at 8:40 till 8:55. We ask that you are using those times as they should be and that you are arriving on time and leaving promptly. Collection will be 3:15 until 3:25, and once again, please ensure that you are there on time and you're leaving promptly. Parents are advised to keep distance from other parents. I know this can be really difficult if you know each other previously, if you've attended our nursery, but we do ask that you keep your distance as much as possible to just reduce the risks. We ask that only one parent is to drop off and collect each child. Parents will be asked to keep distance from the doors and only come to the door when asked by the teacher. This once again is just to ensure that there's not crowding by the classroom doors and that safely we can bring children in and out of the setting. On arrival, children will be asked to use hand gel to wash their hands and place lunch boxes and book bags in relevant boxes and trolleys. They'll be expected to come into school independently, so unfortunately parents, you're not able to come into the class, but we will have lots of staff on hand to reassure your children and give you a big wave at the door. So please don't worry, there's lots of things in place to support your children. If you've got a question that you'd like to ask any of the staff, please make sure that you direct that to myself, Mrs. Braddin. I'll be out on the playground for the whole time of the children coming in, and then if you do need to speak to a member of staff in the classroom, this can be arranged through the Bradley office to ensure that there's not lots of parents who are gathering at the doors on entry or leaving at the end of the day. We'll be having staggered lunches, so this will ensure that there's not too many children in the hall at one time. Although our reception children can be a bubble, we still need to make sure that they are all engaging safely, making sure their hands are washed and clean, and that they are not too close when they're sitting together. So school dinners will still be available and they are highly encouraged. As we've heard from Miss Keenan, they are an important part of our school and they encourage your children to join together and be sociable and learn about healthy eating, good manners, and it is a really important learning experience. So we do encourage as many of you as possible to give school dinners a try. Reception will have their lunch at 12:15 after our nursery children. They can then play on the playground, which is their own playground, to avoid any crossing of bubbles. We will be having those key bubbles again. So each room in Dell will be classed as a bubble. Within the bubble, children are able to interact with one another as they usually would. There is an opportunity for free play, guided work and outdoor play. They'll remain in the bubble and they'll have their own outdoor space to use. To ensure that all children, staff and the other bubbles are safe, we are ensuring regular cleaning of all of our resources. We'll ensure that all of our toilets, tables and chairs are regularly cleaned throughout the session and at the end of the day. But the most important piece of advice we're going to give all of our staff and children is to make sure they're washing their hands. We've heard from government that the best way to make sure we can reduce the risks is to have regular washing and good washing of our hands, and this is something we'll promote in school. As we've mentioned before, if yourself, your child, family or someone you've been in contact with has recently developed any symptoms of COVID-19, please make sure that you keep your children at home and you inform the school as soon as possible. Things to be looking out for: high temperature, persistent cough, or a loss or change in taste or smell. Now, there are information online about symptoms in children which can be slightly different, but you know your children more than anybody else. If you feel that your child is suddenly not feeling well and just not themselves and you're concerned, please follow the guidance carefully and ensure that you are following the guidance to go and get tested and let us know the results as soon as possible. It's best to be safe in these situations and make sure that those measures are being followed. If your child was to start displaying any of those symptoms at school, we will be following similar regimes and guidance as we've been given by the government, and we would contact you as soon as possible for you to come and collect your child in order to go and be tested. And that would need the whole of your family to be tested as well, who's in your household. So it's just something to be aware of. If you do get a phone call about that, not to worry, it's just to make sure that everybody is keeping safe. So important dates to look out for. We really look forward to welcoming your children in September. We know that things may look a little bit different for a little while, but we're going to try and make sure that everything is as smooth as possible and that your children enjoy their time in reception. We welcome them back on Thursday, the 3rd of September, full time, all of our children back together where they should be, and we cannot wait to get started. All of our term times are found on our website if you'd like to have a look. And we ask, please, that any holidays should not be booked in our school time. It should be in holiday time. If you do need to book holiday for whatever reason, please make sure that's done in advance. It should not be done without having permission from the Bradley office. So please make sure that you get a request form and it's approved by our head teacher before you accept any holidays. It would be such a shame for anyone to lose out on holidays and things if they're not done the right way. So please make sure that that is asked for from the Bradley office. And lastly, we thank you so much for joining us and watching this video. Usually this is the part of the meeting where we would have questions and answers time, but if you do have any further questions that you'd like answers to, please email the admin team and we'll be more than welcome to answer you and as fast as we can to get those answers sorted. We look forward to seeing you in September. Have a lovely, restful break and we'll see you very soon. Thank you so much. Goodbye.